Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome to the show. I am Brett the Jet in the booth with Turn 3 Racing Network, and tonight we have a good one here. It is the last great Coliseum Bristol Motor Speedway with the American Sim Racing Club Street Stock Series race number 3. Tonight we have 23 drivers ready to do battle here at this high-banked half mile, and it's going to be a fun one here. 100 laps going to be the distance. Practice wrapping on up. Zach Nichols with the quick time here. Last week's winner, Andrew Payne second, JJ McRae third. Of course, with the race, we got to do one more thing before that, and that's, of course, qualifying. Just like always, qualifying is going to be 2 laps. Going to take your best time of your 2 laps. That will set the starting order, but with a twist, as the top 12 positions will be inverted here for tonight. It looks like first car on the track is going to be our points leader here coming into race number 3. It is the 93 machine of Andrew Payne. Payne not going to like the get up and go off of the line, so we may go to someone else, as actually Payne gets a back roll, so we will keep it on Andrew Payne. At the moment, Payne leads away. Then it is Stephen Rochefort 1 point back, and then JJ McRae 1 point back from Stephen. So top 3 in points coming into tonight, all separated by 2 points or less. Payne first time here on qualifying will run the top side in 1 and 2. Probably will do the same here in 3 and 4. So Payne gonna throw away lap number 1. Lap number 2 is going to be where it's at, as you see the 93 head down to that inside lane here. Payne gets a good run, lot of momentum here, but of course, Payne rocking a special paint scheme here tonight, not the normal one. Rocking a little bit of patriotic schemes with Memorial Day being last weekend, as Payne crosses the stripe, goes to the top of the board. Andrew Payne with the quick time here so far tonight, a 16:02, a great first lap, or I should say, great fast lap by the 93. Now we head to a guy here with the most poles ever in ASRC in the street stocks. It is the 44 of Zach Nichols. Nichols here on the final lap, already down to the bottom side. He will cross the stripe, and Zach Nichols only goes to P2. Nichols just misses out on the quick time here tonight. Another driver here we will take a look at. 19 cars have taken a lap here. This will be now number 20 as we look at the 7 machine of Pete Dillon. Dillon visited victory lane for the first time last season. Still trying to find it once again this season, but this 7 car has had some speed, led some laps of 5 flags. He's looking to do that again here at Bristol. Dillon across the stripe will miss out on the invert, as he only goes up to P number 14 here. So I believe that will mostly do it here for qualifying. We'll take a look, see if anyone decides to make a last-second attempt at qualifying. But right now, 20 of the 23 cars walking away with a time. And right now, Andrew Payne leads the pylon with a 16:02. And we will have to see here if track conditions change, if that sun sets here for the race right now, and some nice golden hour sunset for the time, and it looks like we'll at least still the same here for warm-up. Have a quick 2-minute warm-up just in case if someone needs to get ready here. But once again, big congrats to the 93 of Andrew Payne as he walks away with the quick time award here tonight. So here we go, looking at some race information. And here we go for some race information. Looks like a decently warm day, 78 degrees here, 2 miles per hour. Of course, we got to thank American Sim Racing Club, LaPlante Racing Products, Boardwalk Subs, and then Postma Flooring coming on board with our Tuesday night series. as well as Race 1 that helped us on out last season. Figured give them a little shout out as well. They always do some great stuff with race cars. So, yep, looking like a decent night here at Bristol as we get ready to fire things on off for a 100-lap main event. Andrew Payne with the quick time. He will start 12th, and leading the field to green will be the 45 of Andrew Hardings. As warm-up here comes to an end, the last 15 seconds, these drivers ready to rock and roll. I believe last night, pretty chaotic race here at Bristol. I believe in the late model stocks, we had about 6 cautions. We'll have to see if we have that many here tonight. Top 10 in points look like Andrew Payne leading the way, Stephen Roachford. Then it is J.J. McCrae, Greggy Long 4th. 5th is Hayden Swank, who's not here tonight. Scott Roachford sits tied with Swank. Same with Chuck Darling, so a 3-car tie for 5th. Then in 8th, it is Tim Rogers, 9th, Dave Payton, and then Pete Dillon rounding out the top 10 in points. So here we go. We get ready to fire things on off. Cars here getting gridded on the front stretch as we get ready to head through tonight's starting lineup. Here tonight for the starting lineup for race number 3 will look like the following. Andrew Hardings in the 45 machine will lead the field to the green flag. To his outside will be the 38, that is Dave Payton, starting P number 2. Rolling off in P number 3, that will be the 17 of Greggy Long. And to his outside in P number 4, that is the 51 machine of Ron the Hitman Hart. Rounding out the top 5 here is the 93 on the car, or the 39 in the sim. That is James Pileski. Starting P number 6 is the 013. That is Ty Delphia. Then in P number 7 sits second in points, the 66 of Stephen Roachford. Then to his outside sits P number 3 in points. That is J.J. McCrae in the 78. Rolling off 9th will be the 48 of Tim Rogers. And then it is 10th. Going to the 88, that is Chuck Darling. Rolling off 11th will be the 44 of Zach Nichols, and then starting 12th, our quick qualifier here tonight will be the 93 of Andrew Payne. Then rolling off 13th is the 003 of Terrence Watson, and 14th is the 7 car of Pete Dillon. 15th going to the 52, that is Jeff Dillon. 16th, the 13 car of Zach Hoyer. Starting P number 17 is Scott Negus in the 55. Caleb Ramsey in the 41 will roll off 18th. 19th going to Nicholas DeBoer in the 900. And then it is Braden Cook in the 038 here tonight, rolling off 20th. Then cars that did not take a time will be the 11 car of Jaden Kurtachi. He will roll off 21st. 22nd going to the 10 car of Travis Wright. It looks like Wright not making the call for the grid here. And then Scott Roachford in the 077, he will start shotgun on the field here tonight. And the car fully started in shotgun on the field here as we take a look will be Zach Nichols. Nichols, of course, winning last week at the Five Flag Speedway, so he will start shotgun on the field here, start at the back of the very pack. So here we go. Lights are out around the Bristol Motor Speedway. We get ready to do battle for 100 laps here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Andrew Hardings in the 45 car will lead the field to green. To his outside of the front row will be the 38 of Dave Payne. Those two will have control. The 45 can fire off anytime the iRacing Pace truck heads down pit road. And here we go. iRacing Pace truck down. Andrew Hardings on the loud pedal, and we go green flag racing here at Bristol. Field will dive down into turn number 1, 2x2. For the most part, Hardings gets clear of Payne for the first position. Then for second, side by side between Hart and Long. Ron Hart stuck up on the top side, not for long though. He will slot right on the rear bumper of the 17 machine. James Pileski right on the bumper cover there. I think Pileski may have got a little bit of damage from that. Yeah, you can see the middle of the nose caved in on the 93, so Pileski having a little bit of damage here early in this one. So top 5 single filed out, now even top 7 as JJ McRae around the high side get around the 66 of Stephen Rochford. McRae now trying to put some pressure on the 13 machine. He will get to the inside there, so quite a few battles to kick off the race here tonight as Andrew Harding's trying to run away and hide as Greggy Long has gotten up into second here. Dave Payne falling back just a little bit as we see now McRae up into 6th. He gets right on the back bumper of Pileski. Right behind them, still side by side between the 66 and the 88. That is Rochford down low, Darling up top here. As Darling still having some momentum up top. These two have been pretty even. You'll see Rochford pull ahead just a little bit in the corner with the shorter distance. Then Darling has the momentum up top. And now Darling with the advantage going into turn number 3. Right behind them, we have Terrence Watson here in the 003 machine. He has driven up through the field here pretty quickly, so Watson trying to be a man on the move to kick off this race as he's got a little bit of a roadblock in front of him as 2 cars side by side here as now Scott Negus gets to the right rear quarter panel of the 3. So side by side, this is for P number 10 here at the moment. They will duke it on out. So far, first 9 laps here have been clicked on off, and so far has been clean and green. Update on the 44 machine of Zach Nichols. He has made it up into 16th and already right behind our quick time qualifier of Andrew Payne. Payne definitely has a fairly slow pace, at least at the moment. I think Payne's trying to go into big time tire saving mode, banking at a caution at some point in the race, and then once that happens can drive up through the field. So Payne right now not on the pace of the cars around him, but I think big time tire strategy move by the 93. We'll have to see if it works out because he is losing a lot of track position because of it. He's already back to 18th out of the 22 cars out on the racetrack. Further up towards the front here, no real big change besides Dave Payne falling back to 5th here on the speedway right now. We take a look here. Scott Negus and Stephen Rochford. Terrence Watson was able to get by both of them. Now Negus trying to get around the 66 machine for P number 10. This will be the first time Negus inside the top 10 here tonight. And at the moment, that red 55 machine, biggest mover of the night so far. He is up about 7 positions in the first 14 laps, so he has made up about a position every 2 laps or so far to kick off the race. And you can hear with the street stocks here tonight, a lot of throttle time. You can hear him just kind of feathering the throttle. Then from that, it's pretty much keep your foot to the floor, keep that foot planted on that skinny pedal, and try and keep that momentum around this high banked half mile. This time by new race leader from the top lane here. Greggy Long pulled the nose advantage down the front stretch on Andrew Hardings. Will almost get clear of Hardings. Now he'll get clear. New race leader here by himself up in front. Greggy Long to the point. Hardings here will stay within about a car length of our race leader here. You got to wonder how much are these guys burning off their tires because they almost have a 2 seconds advantage over our 3rd place driver, James Pileski here in the 93. Everyone else here single filed out for the most part off turn number 4. And the only real side-by-side battle at the moment will be the 52 machine of Jeff Dillon and the 38 of Braden Cook. And Jeff Dillon not in his normal car or paint scheme. Jeff Dillon rocking the old maybe Kevin Harvick Reese's machine in the Camaro. Most of the time we see him out here in the Monty, so gotta love to see that from the 52 machine. As further up towards the front here, Scott Negus continues to drive that 55 machine to the right direction here. He will get around the 88 of Chuck Darling, as right in front of them, Terrence Watson putting some pressure on the 38 of Dave Payton. Remember, Payton started on the outside of the front row. Has been, I think, with his pace, trying to save those tires just a little bit. As almost contact there between Payton and Watson. Wow, it can't get much closer than that, folks. The question is, if you're Dave Payton, when do you turn it up? You know it's a 100 lapper, but I usually tell people you want to take it really easy first 5 laps. Then from there, slowly start building up that percentage, about 5% every, 5 laps or so, to bring in that car to the limit. So right about now, usually 20 to 25 laps in a run, I'm starting to take that thing up to, that 90% to the limit, and trying to keep it right about there depending on what kind of pace I think I need to run. And that still kind of shows here in the last lap times. Last time by Payton with a 16.7. 1 leaders are in the 16.6 as Andrew Harding's just at the 16.76. So maybe Harding's tires starting to go away, or leaders, well, that time Harding's back in a 16.66. Payton down to a 16.58. So tires definitely starting to even on out depending on if you're saving with the pace and whatnot. So should be really interesting seeing another indicator of that, as Watson hasn't been able to get a look to the inside or the outside of Payton. So Payton might be starting to turn it up just a little bit, as they're actually starting to reel in that pack of cars in front of him. That pack, of course, being led by James Pileski, and P number 3 has JJ McRae right there on his back bumper. Ron Hart and Ty Delphia all in that pack for 3rd through 6th. As the front 2 still checked out in front, about a 2-second advantage still for the front 2 of Long and Hardings. As McRae, man, he's starting to get desperate. He's starting to look towards the apron to get around Pileski. He knows he has to make a move, because right there we see Ron Hart look to the inside of the 78. So that's why he knows he has to make a move, because it's about go time. As Pileski makes a move. Pileski sideways on the track. Caution flag out on the speedway here, as James Pileski able to get that car rolling, but once again a wounded 93 machine. Man, you hate to see it. This guy cannot buy luck around him, it seems like. And let's take a look here, see what happened. As we see Pileski move up to the high side, McRae had a run. McRae then jumps down to the bottom here. And then, yeah, they just make contact in the left rear as Pileski starts sliding down the track. Hart will just tag him. Oh, Dave Payton further back maybe gets some help. He will somehow hang on to it. As, yeah, everyone else behind him trying to scatter, and that will keep things at least rocking and rolling. Let's try and see what happened here further on back with Payton. So, yeah, seeing some incident. 03 maybe didn't see exactly what was happening, because things happen quick, and I'll only show you guys. We'll ride on board, with a cockpit view. We're riding on board with Greggy Long here under caution, and we'll take a look what you can see through the corner. So as we start to come in the corner, this is how little you can see, only about 20 feet maybe in front of you. So when you're getting into the corners like Watson was, it's really, really hard to see unless you lower your driver position a little bit lower, just for Bristol, which I've heard many of people do. And it's probably the move to do here tonight, just to get that extra sight of what's going on in front of you. Man, a tough break for James Pileski down on pit road. We'll get some of that damage repaired. Hopefully not going to have a problem with overheating, because with a track with so much throttle time, these street stocks are known to get a little warm here on iRacing, so that could be very much a factor for Pileski. We saw he already had a little bit of nose damage before, and It's going to add even more to the 93 of Pileski, as he will bring it down onto pit road here. If there's a caution that some drivers didn't want to see, it's definitely Long and Harding's. Their lead gets evaporated here under the first caution flag. And here we go. First choose of the night. The 17 of Greggy Long can choose. And looks like we'll choose the outside lane here on the restart. Gonna mix things on up. And yeah, we'll get ready to bring it back. Green flag racing. It'll be the start of lap 35 once we turn them on loose again. And of course the lights are out around the pace. Well, on the pace truck as well as around the speedway. That means one thing, folks. We are going green flag racing this time by. Long in the 17 machine will have control of the restart, so he can fire off at any time here, as he will fire off nice and early. Greggy Long through the gears nicely, and we go back to green flag racing here tonight at Bristol. Side by side for second for just a moment as Hart try to find some momentum up top, but here on the restarts, especially when these cars aren't up to full song, topside's not where you want to be here. Ron Hart, though, putting the pressure on Andrew Harding's right on the back bumper here. He's going to try and see if he can time up a run, get to the left rear quarter panel of the 45. Further on back here, Terrence Watson here trying to hold down the 4 on the inside lane. Then he has a lot of cars side by side, 3 wide off of turn number 2 as Andrew Payne in the middle for a second. Payne, of course, taking his time on that first run, saving those tires. Now it looks like starting to use them on up and driving back through the field quite a bit so far. Payne back up to P number 12 here as he has Jaden Kratacci, Stephen Rochford right in front of him, so a lot of fast cars right around Payne at the moment. Yeah, you can see here Terrence Watson did get passed by Chuck Darling. Now the 48 of Tim Rogers trying to work over the high side of the 3 machine. Rogers will sail it in there deep, get a good run here off turn number 4, and we'll get clear of the 3 cars so Rogers can get back down to the bottom. Now will Rogers put the tighten the irons a little bit on Darling. He'll look to the inside. Chuck Darling, though, one of the few cars here not running the bottom on his own. He has stuck to that middle lane so far, holding it pretty well as these guys side by side for a moment, but Darling able to hold off the position with the run. Further up front here, side by side for P number 2 as Hardings and Hart do battle. Harding's got big time loose there in the middle of the corner. Had to save that race car just a little bit. Didn't lose any time though. Able to stay to the right rear quarter panel of Hart as these guys inches away from each other down this straightaway. Let's ride on board with Hardings and see what he's seeing as, oh, he might lose a spot. Oh, he'll get the wall. That will allow Hart to get on by, maybe even JJ McCrae. Here comes now the 13 of Ty Delphia as well. Yeah, let's ride on board with Hardings here, see what he is seeing here. Stuck still up on the second lane as now the 13 tries to get his nose to the inside. Looks like we'll do that here. You can see just how close these cars are getting down the straightaway. Hardings, though, going to be in a tough spot. It seems like doesn't have too killer momentum up on the second lane, at least on corner entry. That's where he's losing most of his time here. He's going to have to try and get down on the bottom, but cars filling up that inside lane. One car way down low. That is a 3 car. Looks like Watson will keep it off the track, so heck of a job by him. That could have been very, very bad as it looks like Watson brings it down to pit road. As you can see here, woo, close racing here tonight. Hardings has found some momentum and some rhythm up top. Harding's able to hang on to P number 4 here. Heck of a move by the 45 machine. That was pretty impressive here, folks. As right behind them now, Tim Rogers trying to get around the 88 of Chuck Darling. This is a battle for 6th position here. And then right behind them, biggest mover of the race so far, Scott Negus. He is up to 8th, trying to get some more as he tries to figure out which line is the line that's going to be moving. As now Negus goes up to the top side of Tim Rogers. This time by the 17 machine of Long. We'll see cross flags halfway down, halfway home in race number 3 of the American Sim Racing Club Street Stock Series. So Scott Negus was able to get around Tim Rogers. Now here comes Stephen Rochford in the 66 trying to do the same, and then right behind him, he started dead last in the field. He has made it now up into 9th. Zach Nichols trying to drive through the field here, and he's so far halfway through it, about halfway through the race. One car big time loose off of turn number 4. That it was the 45 machine of Andrew Hardings. Hardings will slot back to about 9th position. We'll keep that race car underneath it, but here we go, 3 wide off of turn number 4. Wow, how did they make that work? Almost didn't, as Nichols and Negus make contact there. Here comes now Tim Rogers. He's going to think about doing the same, but Rogers now put in a box here, as it looks like the 55 of Negus loose, same with the 45 of Hardings. Here we go, 3 wide once again, as now we see those cars that maybe used up those tires here early starting to struggle with the handling. Hardings big time in the wall. He will get it again. Hardings somehow hangs on to that race car, but that right rear definitely gone and fallen off a cliff for that 45. So our pole setter here tonight led some laps, and that race car gone in a handbasket out there. That thing needs a caution in a hurry to cool down those tires, as he is now up in the marbles as well. That is not helping either. Further up towards the front here, staying the same in the top 5. Greggy Long leading the way, Ron Hart 2nd, JJ McRae 3rd, Ty Delphia 4th, and now Chuck Darling up into the top 5. The 88, the dead shot wiring machine of Darling, up into P number 5. So I'm sure he's pumped up about that, but he's got to be a little bit worried. Right behind him, Zach Nichols up into 6th, Stephen Rochford in 7th in some clean air as well. Tim Rogers currently sits in 8th. 9th is a battle between Kratacci and Negus, and then right there as well as Dave Payne. So cars, some of the fast cars in the invert, most of them into the top 10 here, and most of them trying to find the pace here. I mean, last couple times by, Andrew Payne has been the fastest car on the speedway. The question is, does he have enough time to get through the field here? Still 40 laps to go, but he sits about, 3 seconds back from the race leader. As Long starting to fall off the pace here, and we can start to see some black marks being laid out by the 17. Greggy Long using up that right rear, kind of like we saw the 55 do a little bit. Same with the 45, especially of Hardings, as now Long under fire from Ron Hart. Greggy Long maybe using up those tires just a little bit too much, a little too early, as at the stripe, Ron Hart will lead the lap as they'll door bang going into turn number 1. Oh man, Greggy Long big time sideways. That car is only going to get worse. He's going to either have to get up to that second lane and try and put a little bit less wheel in the car, or back up the pace here as he continues to door other cars on the speedway. Oh man, he had to save it big time. He will get Chuck Darling. Oh, you hate to see it. Long tried to save the race car. Chuck Darling, just an innocent bystander there. As they will, now Darling will try and get on by. But that's a tough break there. As Long still trying to hang out of that race car. Long into the wall hard. Reggie Long way off the pace here down the backstretch. Will probably have to bring that thing pit side if he can find an opening. And that is a tough break so far. The two cars we've seen lead in this race, Greggy Long and Andrew Harding, both of them down on pit road. Their nights are done. Let's see if that will be the case of Ron Hart. We know Hart is great with a loose race car. Really good at saving that right rear tire. And he gets some real life experience on Saturday nights in a Midwest modified, one of those cars that you do have to do that each and every night. So Hart definitely going to be in his wheelhouse here with about 30 laps to go. But now comes the tough decision of pace versus saving, because Zach Nichols in that 44 up into P number 3 and trying to get P number 2 away from the 13 Adelphia. Cars starting to migrate further up the track, like I was mentioning before, to try and save that right rear tire, get into the banking a little bit more, as well as a little bit less wheel at the apex. But here we go, side by side for P number 2 here with a 30 laps to go at Bristol. Zach Nichols here started 22nd. He is trying to get second place away from the 13. They will continue to go side by side. Ty in the 13 machine not making it easy. Zach Nichols once again goes behind the 13 machine. Wanted to see what was down there on the bottom side. So far, not too much here. As another car a little bit off the pace. The 78 of McRae. His right rear starting to go. So you hate to see that. He came into tonight third in points. So McRae just has to pretty much back down this pace. Keep this race car underneath him. But he's still got a little bit of a ways to go here tonight. Another big names here, of course, Chuck Darling up into fourth. He has that big time left front damage. As always, see Ty in the 13 machine. He gets passed by Nichols, but now he is starting to smoke the right rear out here. So he might be another car out here off the pace here with the right rear starting to go away. You can see that car getting sideways, the smoke coming out. Let's ride on board as we take a look. Battle for the race lead in front, and you can see Ty working the wheel more towards the right than to the left. It's kind of like we're at Dirt Bristol here for some of these drivers. 25 laps to go here, and Zach Nichols on the back bumper of Ron Hart for the race lead. Nichols trying to find a line where Hart is not. Hart will slot right in front of the 44 machine. And once again, Nichols will try and get to the right rear quarter panel of Hart. He will get there off turn number 2. Drag race here into turn number 3. Hart will put Nichols all the way up in the marbles. Somehow both cars will hang on to as Hart sawing on that wheel. Nichols up in the marbles. Hart has to be careful here. He knows his battle needs to be, of course, try and win this race, but most importantly, bring this car home in one piece. Can't afford to fire that right rear too much as contact some more for the race lead here tonight. Hart will slot right to the door of Nichols, but Zach Nichols will get clear. He will try and set sail with the race lead. From the back to the front, Zach Nichols goes with about 21 laps left in this one. With that battle here, that allowed Chuck Darling to get right to the back bumper of his teammate of Ron Hart here. So we'll have to see what the game plan is between the two teammates of Hart and Chuck Darling. I think a trouble for second in points, Stephen Rochford, I believe, will call it a night here. So that will put him all the way back in about I believe 18th position. So out of the race so far tonight is Rochford, Greggy Long, Andrew Hardings, James Pileski, and Terrence Watson here. As we take a look here, Chuck Darling getting the pass done for P number 2. So Darling, can he run down Zach Nichols? How much more pace does the 88 have? Behind them now, Jaden Kratachi starting to fire that right rear off that race car. He starts to get loose as Andrew Payne right behind him in 5th, putting the pressure on the 11 car. Oh man, Jaden big time loose here. Payne, if he has some more speed, has to quickly get around Kratachi here if he can. And then if he can do that, then try and run down the cars in front of him, because definitely the pace of Hart last couple of times by has been a 22. Andrew Payne stuck behind Kratachi, has not been able to get to clean air yet, as it looks like the 13 machine of Delphia was running in the top 3 for the most of the beginning of the night. Looks like maybe right rear down on the car, trying to wiggle and wobble that car, as it looks like he will continue to stay out there, but way off the pace, as he will try and keep that car underneath him. Looks like car stopped on the front stretch. This will bring out our second caution, and wow, this is going to be interesting here, folks, as we have tires starting to go away. This will cool them on off, but give them a heat cycle. So man, oh man, that's going to make it really interesting. We'll take a look here, see what happened to Braden Cook off turn number 4. Cook up in the marbles there. It looks like just loses that right rear and will slide and probably make heavy contact with that inside wall. Yeah, he does. Knocks the nose cone off that car. Unloads at least all 4 tires, but we'll probably bring that thing pit side, so that only leaves about 16 cars on the racetrack and about 15 of them on the lead lap here. So Zach Nichols out in front, Chuck Darling 2nd, Ron Hart 3rd, Andrew Payne 4th, Jaden Kratachi 5th, Tim Rogers 6th, 7th going to Zach Hoyer, 8th is Jeff Dillon, 9th Dave Payton, and then it is Pete Dillon rounding out the top 10 here. Yeah, that it is here tonight, Eric, as these drivers definitely on the edge of their seats, especially as this right rear has gone away in a hurry with these guys. There's just so much throttle time here tonight that with the speeds and the throttle, you know, you get these cars just a little bit sideways, even a couple laps, that temperature will build up, and then once you build up that temperature, especially here at Bristol, it is tough to go away. 1, because of the banking, and 2, because it's a concrete track. This track, of course, takes heat a little bit differently than an asphalt track, so a lot for these drivers to manage, as we'll have about a 10-lap shootout. And yeah, I don't know where the other half of the boosted broadcast is at. Would love to, of course, get him back in the booth. The door is always unlocked for him. As here we go at the stripe, Zach Nichols not going to take any chances. He will select the inside lane on the restart as we get ready to rock and roll for a 10-lap shootout left at Bristol here tonight. So far, only 2 caution flags. The question is, will we get some more? If we do, there is a good chance we might be using our 1 attempt at a green-white checkered, but let's hope it doesn't come to that as we get ready to rock and roll. It's going to be Nichols, Darling on the front row of the restart. Zach Nichols fires on off. He gets a good start out in the front. Chuck Darling here stuck side by side with his teammate of Ron Hart. Darling not through the gears probably the way he would like. He might lose P number 3 here to Jaden Kratachi, as Andrew Payne right there as well. Pete Dillon gets in the back of Zach Hoyer. Somehow Hoyer will hang on to that race car, as he had a little bit of moment because of that. Up in front of them, Ron Hart, big time sideways through 1 and 2. Here comes Chuck Darling. They'll lean on each other for second. Ron Hart trying to save that race car. He will get stuck 3 wide down the front stretch. Here comes Andrew Payne in the 93. Payne not lifting. Hart in a big time slide. Oh, another one for Ron Hart. He will smack the wall hard. Man, oh man, it's tough. Like I said here, folks, you get that right rear hot. It takes only a couple times for that thing to say sayonara, and we'll see you next time. as out in front Zach Nichols trying to check on out, but Andrew Payne, the car that saved the most amount of tires, he is up into second. He's trying to track down our race leader. Last time by, Payne was about a tenth and a half quicker, as this is what Andrew Payne needs to see. Caution flag number 3 out on the speedway here. And it looks like Scott Rochford down on pit road, Nicholas DeBoer, and now Ron Hart in the 51. As we'll take a look here, Jeff Dillon with some damage on the 52. Let's see what happened to Dillon. Jeff Dillon down on the bottom side, already loose coming into the corner, gets down on the apron, does a great job of keeping it off another car, but probably down on that apron here, having no grip. And I would have to guess that that right rear already starting to go on the 52, and just a long, lazy slide into that inside front stretch wall. As yeah, he will make pretty significant contact. That Reese's 52 machine definitely getting a bite out of it here tonight in the closing stages at Bristol. So with that here tonight, I believe this will be our one attempt at a green-white checkered. As no, I think it'll actually be an unofficial green-white checkered. So this is actually not our one attempt at a green-white checkered here so far. So interesting call. Zach Nichols will choose the outside lane here tonight on this restart. We'll go up to the spotter stand here, try and take a look as much of the field as we can on this restart, because this may determine everything. Of course, Zach Nichols in the 44 selects the high side. He is control on the restart. Then to his inside, quick time qualifier here tonight, Andrew Payne on the front row as well. Here we go. iRacing Pace Truck heads down pit road. Zach Nichols in control of the start. He will fire on off. He will get a great jump over Andrew Payne. Payne has to keep the nose in front of Jaden Kratacci. Payne with not a great shift into fourth here, but we'll get even with Kratacci down the backstretch. Side by side here, Kratacci big time sideways. White flag is out. One more lap to go. Zach Nichols away. Out in front, Andrew Payne loose. Same with the 11 car. How does it shake out here through 3 and 4? It looks like everyone able to hang on to their race cars, but off of turn number 4, Zach Nichols goes 2 in a row here in the Street Stock Series. Andrew Payne will finish second, and Chuck Darling will get up on the podium. We'll be talking to all 3 drivers here in just a little bit. We'll let Zach Nichols burn it on down, as well as head to the new victory lane here tonight at the Bristol Motor Speedway, that being found in turn number 3. So that's going to be definitely exciting to see. But I tell you what, there's one guy pumped up to hang on to this win. It is definitely this 44 of Zach Nichols. So Zach Nichols heads up the ramp. He will pull it down to the new victory lane out here on the front stretch, and that is, or I should say, the infield here, and that is an awesome sight to see. So don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back with the post-race show and talking to our top 3.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Alrighty, folks, we are back here at the Bristol Motor Speedway with the top three ready to rock and roll. So the first driver we will be talking to is our third place finisher. That going to the 88 of Chuck Darling. Chuck, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
What's going on, Brett? It's been a long time.
It has been a minute. First and foremost, man, how we feeling? 100 laps, a tricky setup, and to end up on the podium, that's got to feel pretty good.
Well, that seems like a win for me. I was just telling Zach and Andrew, it's like when I run third to guys like that, it's like a win.
Yeah, that it is. I mean, you can't hang your head at all with this finish here tonight. And, you know, coming down to some tricky stuff, you got quite a bit of left front damage. I was hoping that didn't affect the car, and that thing still seemed like a rocket ship.
Yeah, I was just biding my time. I was kind of backing up my corner throughout the whole race, and we got up into traffic there, and I seen what was going on with Greg, and I'm like, he's just as loose as a goose, and I just caught him at the wrong time. He slid up the track. I didn't have nowhere to go. I mean, fortunately, we didn't like wreck each other. But that nose damage, I think it hurt me, but I don't know. It felt like I could back up the corner a little bit more and get that run on the low line when I was carrying more momentum.
Yeah, definitely. It luckily didn't seem like it was hurting the car too much, because with that, able to keep pace, and probably more importantly, did not start to overheat the car, because these things can be a little finicky at Bristol.
Yeah, you know what's really funny? I get racing these things and stuff like that happens. I don't even look at the gauges. I just drive. I'm like, if caution comes out, I'm not going to fix the damage because there's no sense going all the way to the back and then trying to come up. But that was a blast. I mean, don't get me wrong. I prefer the short tracks where you can, have to get on the brakes. You have a little bit more throttle control. But I sure as heck did not expect to qualify that well, and I didn't expect to finish in the top three.
Yeah, and especially, it seemed like you had great pace, both with saving your tires as well as the qualifying pace. So what kind of clicked here at Bristol? Because like you said, you prefer the good old bull rings of iRacing, but here tonight, showing a lot of speed in the 88.
Well, in qualifying, thanks to Pete Dillon for pointing me out, he watched Andrew's line, so I used that line in qualifying. It kind of bobbled a little bit, but still, I'll take I think it was third or fourth in qualifying. And then in running the race, it's like I knew that talking during, the driver meeting that it was going to fall off at some point. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to push it too much. I would just kind of let it float into the corner, and that at a certain point, I'd stab the gas and just stay on the gas. And at the middle point, I think I was running more of a midline, trying to just save as much as I could. And it was funny because it didn't get loose until that last restart.
Yeah, that last restart, definitely a hectic one, an unofficial green-white checkered. You started on the inside of row number 2, had to feel pretty good, but then kind of a slow start by everyone there. And then what was your game plan from that? Because you know it was going to be hectic with either cars breaking that right rear loose or trying to keep yours underneath you.
It was a case of me trying to keep mine underneath me because I just went down into the corner and I'm trying to stay behind Andrew, and all of a sudden I felt it get twitchy and I'm like, oh crap. And then I hear three wide and two wide, and I'm looking behind me and I see cars all over the place, and I'm like, okay, let me just get a top three. I want to talk to Brett.
Yeah, and speaking about that, a tough way to start the season. It seems like you and Dave Payne always have the worst luck award when it comes into the night. You two always battle for that. But then, since then, clicking off some top fives, starting to even rebound with some incidents. And then tonight, all comes together to a podium. That's got to feel pretty good. Still towards the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I think my nickname is Bad Luck Chuck in this league. Sometimes I'll get going good and then stuff happens. But, me and Dave, we're buddies and we always have bad luck. But, we're like a penny. We just keep coming back for more. And eventually it clicks. And tonight was one of them cases. So I'm just very fortunate, very blessed that I was able to park it in a P3 position.
Yeah, it was awesome to see. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be excited for this one, Chuck, for you to finish up here tonight. So, you, my man's got to be feeling good. How are we feeling next week? I believe heading to Myrtle Beach, one of those classic iRacing tracks.
I kind of have a love-hate with relationship with Myrtle Beach. If I can carry my momentum the right way and hit my marks, it's a good track. But I have not had the greatest of luck. So, I've just gone into the summer season with no expectations. Just go out and run, and whatever happens, happens. And went from disappointment the first couple weeks, and then last night got a top 10. The week before got a top 10, and then tonight parking at P3 on the front stretch, and to finish behind Zach and Andrew, two of the fastest guys in this league and on iRacing, that's quite the accomplishment.
Yeah, that it is, and awesome stuff to see. So, Chuck, I know last couple years you've been doing some cool stuff in the real world, especially related to racing. I think I got to have you talk a little bit about that. What kind of cool stuff you've been up to, my man?
Well, this kicks off my fourth season as the co-announcer at the Bertrand Speedway and Event Center. Also help them a little bit with the social media stuff. Just having fun on Friday nights with my buddy Big Ed and Lowe's, get to watch some great racing. I know we've got the debut of our limited late models street stocks this Friday night. And then the weekend after that, we have the National Compact Touring Series presented by RevX coming in, the world's fastest compacts, going to be doing the U.S. Speedo Shootout. We've actually been partnering up with the Bertrand Bridgeport Chamber of Commerce and the Bertrand Visitors, easy enough for me to say, English is hard, Bertrand Visitors Bureau and Convention Bureau to advertise that event more along with Pure Michigan. So we're hoping for a good crowd for that. Lots of cars, and of course we've got Gas Alley. So, if you want to come out, hang at the racetrack, and have a good place to chill and grab some adult beverages, that's the place to do it on Friday nights.
Yeah, always a great facility with a lot of great stuff, like you said, with the bar, as well as you can't miss some great racing there at good old Bertrand Speedway.
Yeah, definitely. We have the destruction shows too. Them guys put on a phenomenal show the last time out. The crowd was absolutely hopping. So we're hoping to carry that momentum, on a regular Friday night racing program. So we shall see. The weather, it's not looking too great for this Friday, but fingers crossed that it clears up and we get to see some racing on Friday.
Yep, hope so too. Hopefully, Mother Nature stays on her way. But here tonight, Chuck, you finished P number 3 here, and I'm sure there's got to be a lot of people you'd like to thank this season. So before we let you go and celebrate, I'm going to go hand over the mic to you and have you thank who you got to thank, whether sponsors, teammates, or maybe some people tuning in at home.
Well, first off, got to thank you, Brett, and Turn 3 Racing Network for doing the broadcast. Love going back, watching the replays. Got to thank all the admins for putting this on. It's a great league, for jumping from NASCAR 2003 to here. Anybody looking for a good league, hop on board here. Of course, the series sponsors, Postma Flooring for the late model stocks, Race 1 wraps for the street stocks, the LaPlante Triple Crown Challenge Series, all the other sponsors. The ones I've got on my car, Bertrand Speedway and Event Center. My buddy Brad Bergevin at Dead Short Race Car Wiring, can't forget him. He's also shout out to him for being the announcer at the Owendale Speedway, now Silver Bullet Speedway. So kudos to him for that. And who else we got? Race One Wraps. Mark does a killer job on the paint schemes, kicking it back to the old school Mike Eddy. And also got to thank my wife. She's the better half of B&C Racing, my wife Brenda. So, and anybody tuning in, I've been posting the links and the broadcast links to trying to get people to watch. So anybody out there, thanks for supporting. I appreciate it.
Alrighty, Chuck. You, my man, have a great rest of your night and go celebrate this podium finish. You deserved it here.
Hey, thanks, Brett. Also, shout out to Pete Dillon and Ron Hart. They make great teammates. We bounce stuff off from each other, so kudos to them guys. No, they didn't quite have the finishes they wanted, but still killer guys to be a part of a team with.
Oh yeah, some of the best and some great people as well.
Yep. Take care, Brett. Catch you on the next one.
All right, sounds good, Chuck. We'll catch you on the flip side.
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, folks, that was our third place finisher of the 88 machine of Chuck Darling. Now we'll head up to our runner-up finisher, that being the 93 machine of Andrew Payne. Andrew, do you got a copy? It's Brett Jet in the booth here.
I got a copy.
Alrighty, 2 weeks in a row, you finished P number 2. I know that's got to feel a little bit bittersweet, but you came into tonight with the points lead, and those fellow competitors did not have some good races. You, my man, had a great one there.
Yeah, we going into this one, I sort of knew that we were going to be burning up the right rear, or in I guess the right front pretty good in these cars, especially once we got the practice, and we were running full throttle to make time in like a qualifying trim. So, it just tonight was just about surviving, racing myself mostly. In the first about 20 or 30 laps, I was really off the pace, but that was the plan, just to let those guys by on the high side and just hang out. And I ended up sort of filing into a group there at the end, or in that run, and just hanging out, and got a couple cautions, and it got really aggressive there just before the halfway point, and I, was a little bit too aggressive for my taste, especially with people going up to the wall and starting to run those higher lines, and then it just, I don't know, we got a really good run to the end there, and it just was one of those things that people kept falling back because they're, losing right rears or right fronts, and we kept them on pretty good all night. I know the restarts were a little bit sketchy on the old tires because it felt like we were driving on oil, but it was really good. I think had the last caution not come out, we would have had a shot at Zach there. But I mean, I'm happy with the P2, especially with how we started the season, P3, P2, and P2. So it just got to take these finishes as you can get them. I know there's a couple points when I didn't really think I'd be able to get back to into the top 10, let alone the top 5, especially with how people were running. But I just settled in and let people come back to me, and it ended up working out over the 100 laps.
Yeah, that it did. Of course, Andrew, you qualified with the quick time here tonight. Once again, congrats on that. But as well as that, I think at one point you're down to like 18th or 19th with that pace, like you said, to back it on up. And I'm sure that, like you said, you're like, man, do I even get back here? Because we usually know Bristol is definitely a little bit of track position, but man, that was awesome to see you drive through the field, especially with all those cars starting to get loose and all that craziness.
Yeah, it was really tough actually at some points. When everyone was roughly equal on tires, that was when it was the toughest. But you know, like about lap 30, when we got that first caution, people started running that high line, and I don't know, it's just I wasn't ready to run the high line. I wasn't really ready to run the high line at all tonight, to be honest with you, Brett. But we will. I mean, we ran the low line. I knew that running the low line, as much as it would have burned the right front off, I'd rather take a right front a little more wear first than the right rear, because at least with the right front, I can go up the track and re-burn the right rear a little looser, so it sort of even itself out. But we stayed pretty committed to the bottom till about 40, 30, 40 to go, and would run the high line when needed. I know it was it was so tough when I got a bunch of spots and people would just start running the high line and I'd lose all those spots again. But I mean, this was probably one of our longer races of the season. 100 laps of Bristol is a pretty decent time in these cars. So, but it was I don't know, just had to keep telling myself that things would keep going forward, and people would start dropping off, and they ended up dropping off, and the bottom ended up being the way to go towards the end when everyone was having to run the high side because they couldn't force the car to the bottom. So we ended up working out pretty good, running the line we did all night. And like I said, I wish I had another couple shots at the win there. I know that last caution hurt us pretty bad, but we'll take second. I know there's pretty couple close calls there in the closing laps. Some really aggressive moves on my part, but they worked and got up to second.
Yeah, one of those moves I got to ask about is you taking a 3 wide with Ron Hart. Saw he was loose, got the momentum up top. What were you hoping? Just that no cars ended up in your door there?
Pretty much, I thought I knew Ron had been a little on the free side from the previous run, and I knew that him and Chuck were battling it out, and I know that I would have probably preferred to run the middle with how the car starts on the restarts with the tires being a little cold, but I ended up just having to force it to the high side like I did, and it ended up sticking. I just needed to get, half my car up there, and we ended up, I think, getting a full car length side by side with Ron, and it worked. It got me from fourth to second, and ended up having another caution a couple laps later. But that was pretty much the move that I think solidified me into the podium for the night. But it was sketchy for sure. But I trust those guys, Ron and Chuck, for to not, you know, end up in my lap or anything like that. I know Ron was wheeling that thing pretty good there at the end, and he still. I know right after that move, he definitely got the wall a little bit, but I can trust myself to race around these guys pretty hard, and I hope they can trust me in the same way, especially after tonight. So, but it's fun. It was fun, but yeah, that move was had me at the edge of my seat too. So I don't like making moves like that if I don't have to, but I guess it worked out at the in the end tonight.
Yeah, it was definitely go time at that point. And Andrew, you mentioned before, and I mentioned as well, last week second, week number one, P number three, have been on the podium all 3 nights. That is awesome to see, as well as with that, having the points lead and now extending it. You came into tonight 1 point advantage. Now leaving Bristol, you have a 12-point advantage. How we feeling, my man?
Well, I mean, 12 points, 3 races in is pretty good. I know that that's not something that makes me super comfortable, obviously, because 12 points can vanish pretty quickly. But as much as I enjoy being in the points lead, just gotta sort of take it race by race at this point. We just hit our quarter mark for the season, so we still have another 9 weeks of racing left. So there's a lot that can happen. I mean, like I said last week, set my goal to finish in the top 10 every race. So the fact that we're on the podium for every event so far is exceeding my expectations so far for the season. So we'll just continue to try to rattle off top fives, top threes like this, and maybe hopefully get a win at some point. It would be nice to finally get a win in the street stock, but I can't complain about finishing second, especially to Zach Nichols.
Yeah, that you cannot. A great podium here tonight with you, Darling, and Nichols. So, Andrew, before we let you go and celebrate another podium finish, we're going to go hand the mic over to you and thank who you got to thank, as well as, that painter, too. A sweet looking patriotic scheme here as well.
Well, first and foremost, huge shout out to you, Brett, and the Turn 3 Racing Network guys. I botched that, I believe. I'm looking forward, especially to this one, going back and watching the broadcast, and you guys put on a really good show. So, looking forward to watching tonight, and probably gonna go back or watch the late models from last night as well. So, huge shout out to Tanner and the rest of the admins for putting on this series, putting on the league. It's been a total blast. These street stocks are way more enjoyable than I would have ever thought. So it's been fun so far this season. Huge shout out to all my partners: QuickTime Motorsports Media, Home Metal Fab, Citrus Hat Songbor, V&H Fresh. Huge shout out to all my fellow competitors out there. It's really fun racing with these guys each week. Um, and last but certainly not least, huge shout out to all the fans that come out and support the broadcast, us drivers, the league. We would not be here without your support, and we're looking forward to Myrtle Beach next week.
Yeah, that one should be a good one here. So, Andrew, here tonight, thanks again for all you do. Thanks for being part of the show. and we will catch you next week at Myrtle Beach. But here tonight, my man, have a great one and celebrate another podium finish.
Thank you.
Alrighty, folks, that was our second place finisher, Andrew Payne. Now we'll head down to our winner of the night here, making it 2 in a row. It is the 44 machine of Zach Nichols. Zach, you got a copy?
Yep.
Alrighty, my man. How are we feeling going from the back to the front after 100 laps here at Bristol?
It feels pretty good. I didn't honestly wasn't expecting this because with just how it was in practice with just being wide open for like 30 something laps, and then you had to start letting off. But yeah, it definitely feels good to go from the back to the front, and yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, and we saw many of cars fall on off. We saw you kind of take a decent easy pace, but I would say, one of the best cars overall with the average pace through the night. How tough was it to kind of predict this fall off as well as keep that right rear on you? Because I heard even those restarts, especially at the end, still were sketchy.
Oh yeah, for sure. Tanner was saying something in the driver's meeting about how the right rear was probably going to give out towards the end. So once we took the green, I kind of just made myself just kind of enter shallower than what I would normally do into the corners, just to kind of put more pressure on the right front rather than the right rear. And it looked like it paid off because later in the race we were moving pretty good. And yeah, after that like really late race caution after we got around Ron and whatnot, it like the whole car just like flipped the switch on being pretty good to just absolutely wrecking loose. So luckily we were able to hold on to her and come out.
Yeah, that was an awesome drive to see. I'm sure at the end a little bit worried seeing the 93 behind you because I'm sure you noticed his pace, how much he was saving. How tough was it to manage that pace but keep that race car in you? Because we saw a lot of drivers end up burning that right rear and they went to the wall in a hurry.
Yeah, definitely knew that he was saving pretty good with we passed him earlier in the race and he was saving pretty good, so I knew he was going to be a threat later on in the race. And yeah, once I saw him and my relative catching us, I knew I was going to have to do something on the one of the last restarts. And luckily Jaden was fourth, so I picked the top and got a little teammate game going to give me a buffer to the end.
Yeah, that it worked perfectly, able to get a great restart. And Zach, I give you props. You made it through the gears cleanly.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of went the chicken route. I turned my shifting aid to auto clutch, so I don't have to push the thing. It just revs out for a split second. Still not fast, but it gets the job done better than what I can do.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not as quick as the auto blip, but definitely a lot safer, especially if you're leading the race, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. Luckily, we were able to still, even though the restarts were kind of slow, luckily we were able to stick in front of them.
Yeah, that you were. Great run through the field here. Started in the back, knew you had to pick off some cars, and I mean, how tough was passing? Was it mostly just wait for a mistake, and then especially from 40 on, just wait for them to get loose, wash up the track, and pull right around them?
I mean, I think I got kind of lucky. We were just running the bottom, and it was kind of tough. And then that like caution, kind of towards halfway, I think it was like around lap 30 or so. Everyone kind of went towards the bottom, and me and Jaden kind of just railed the top, and were able to pass a lot of cars. And I think that's really where we got lucky. And then there was some scuffles going on, and I didn't lift, and got some cars that way. And yeah, we just kind of got lucky throughout the middle part of the race, and were able to get up there.
Yeah, that you were. And yeah, Zach, get up there. You did it up into the new victory lane. How cool is that thing in the infield?
I thought I was gonna miss the corner at first, but luckily we picked the right slide or the right hole, I guess. And yeah, and that's my first time ever driving up there. When it first came in, I was just like jumping cars off of it, but yeah, it's pretty neat.
Oh yeah, you for sure have to air a couple of cars off that ramp. I mean, if iRacing puts in a ramp, you gotta hit it a few
Oh
times,
yeah, for
right?
sure.
Well, Zach, me being a big stats guy, we always got to talk about this tonight. A big win for you because this will make it your 22nd career win here at ASRC. And with that win, it ties you for second overall, I should say third overall in the all-time wins, tying you with the 51 car of Ron Hart.
Oh, that's pretty sweet. Ron's a phenomenal driver. He races really clean, so to be tied with him is pretty sweet. And I don't know who's first and second on there, but looking to hopefully we can catch up to them.
Yeah, so in second, one win in front of you now is Andrew Payne, and then leading the way is actually myself with 29.
Ooh, oh, you shaking in your boots? I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's pretty cool. So looking, hopefully we can get a couple more wins this season, and hopefully we can yeah, with the races I choose, hopefully we can get it done there.
Yeah, I mean, a race with street stocks with you, you actually absolutely kicked my butt. You are just on a different level, especially when it comes to these streeters.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's out of all the short track cars, the street stock's definitely my favorite. With just how like a big of a boatish it feels. It's just like it's fun to drive in, and yeah, it's a ton of fun.
Yeah, that it is. So, Zach, we'll let you get rocking and rolling, celebrate with the crew up here in Victory Lane. But before we do, we're going to go hand over the mic to you one more time. Of course, 2 wins in a row, 22nd career win. So, we're going to go let you thank your sponsors, some of those all important teammates, and then anyone else you want to give a shout out to, including those diehard fans out there in the comments as well. Have to for sure mention those guys.
Yeah, I can't thank Jody at Professional Sterilizer Services and Consulting and RSS Mobile Trailer Repair. They come out they came on board this season, and can't thank them enough. Carney's Complete Auto Service, they help us a ton out, and you guys for broadcasting. You guys do a great job. Tanner for putting this whole deal on. It's a ton of fun to come out each week and race. And my dad's watching, my uncle Kenny's watching. Like to shout them both out, and yeah, that's about it.
All righty, Zach, you, my man, have a great rest of your night. Always a great time talking to you. And yeah, 2 in a row, that's got to feel great.
It certainly does. And yeah, you have a good night as well.
All righty, thank you very much, Zach. That was our race winner for race number 2 of the season, Zach Nichols. Getting the job done, he will park it in Victory Lane here at Bristol up on the top step. So that will do it here for driver interviews after the race. So let's head down and wrap things on up and let you guys get on out at a decent time. Once again, of course, got to give a big shout out to a few people that, of course, being you guys tuning in here live. Appreciate each and every one of you spending your Wednesday nights with myself. Got to give a shout out to the replay viewers coming in here after, as well as all the drivers here to spend your Wednesday nights racing with us, to put on a show that all of us get to enjoy. So yeah, if you enjoyed what you saw tonight, be sure to tune in next Tuesday as American Sim Racing Club takes a late model stock to Myrtle Beach, or on Wednesday nights, a week from today, the Street Stocks will also take on the Myrtle Beach, also with the American Sim Racing Club. 2 action-packed races that are always barn burners, both at the same time, same place, 9 o'clock on the Turn 3 Racing Network. So let's head through the finishing results. Zach Nichols in the 44 makes it 2 in a row here in race number 3. Andrew Payne, for the 3rd time this season, up on the podium. He will finish 2nd. And then Chuck Darling, the man in the 88 machine, able to get up on the podium. An awesome run for him. We know the Chuck Darling camp definitely pumped up about that. Then how about this guy here, folks? Tim Rogers in the 48 will muster a 4th place finish. Then finishing P number 5, we saw him get loose on that final restart there. Able to hang on to the race car. Biggest mover besides the shotgun driver, Jaden Kotachi in the 11 will finish 5th. Finishing P number 6 will be the 13. That is Zach Core. 7th going to Dave Payne in the 38. 8th is the 7 car of Pete Dillon. 9th going to the 41 of Caleb Ramsey. Rounding out the top 10 is Scott Negus in the 55. 11th is Jeff Dillon. 12th going to JJ McRae. 13th is Ty Delphia. 14th Scott Rochford. 15th Ron Hart. 16th going to Nicholas DeBoer. 17th is Braden Cook. P number 18 is Stephen Rochford. 19th Andrew Hardings. 20th is Greggy Long. 21st going to James Pileski. 22nd is Terrence Watson. And then Travis Wright did not make the start. So that will do it here tonight for myself. Here over at Turn 3, we are partnered with Premier Setup Shops. You can find a link in the description that will take you over to their website. Even if you don't buy anything, a click would go a long way, and I myself would be greatly appreciated of that. I know we got some awesome fans here and awesome supporters, so that would mean a lot. So I think that would do it here tonight from Bristol. So everyone, take care, stay safe, have a great rest of your week, and we'll catch you next week on Tuesday or Thursday for some more sim racing action. So I have been Brett the Jet in the booth, and I just flew by you. Have a good one.